This is Real Deal Sports Talk with KP, August 9th, 2018. What have you been through?
I've been through it. I'm proving that I'm battle tested. Since adolescence, you witnessing what is manifested. This alliance, a combination of rhyme and shines. Rocking our hypothesis, actualizing the highest science. Table of elements occupying my molecules. High off the chronic, we're harmonizing my chronicles. Running shit since Kid and Play did the running man. Black man scramble on land like Randall Cunningham. From the jump in the introduction was so impressive. Flow aggressive, but always calm, cool, collected. Hater proof, can't extinguish when I blaze the boot. Far sharp as razor edge claws on a saber tooth. Save the youth like a dedicated educator. Rising to the top and I ain't even take the escalator. Never in the dark when you got the light to shine through it. Take the beat and fine tune it when we put the rhyme to it. That's right.
Welcome into Real Deal Sports Talk with your boy KP. How's everybody doing? It's Thursday. I hope you're doing good. Welcome in. Thank you for listening. Thanks for all your support out there. I really appreciate it. I'm appreciating the feedback, the likes. It's been good. I feel like it's going to make me better. I'm listening to my own show with a different ear now. Last show, I got a little rushed at the end of the show. I got 45 minutes to get it all in, and I'm focusing on trying to get as much content in each show as I can to stay current. I need to focus on the content in the show and make sure that it's good content that is current. So you're going to see some changes as far as the way the show goes. That way you might see some less content on some shows. You might see some shorter segments, shorter stories on other shows. We're going to get more segmented. We're going to start timing things out a little better. I got a new timer. The old one died out on me, and I was trying to do a lot of this in my head. But, that's real talk. We try and get better out here, just like you guys out there. You're trying to get better at what you do each and every day, whether that's the skill you have at the job you currently have or the skill you are trying to attain to get the job that you ultimately want. So that's all it is. We have to be able to self-critique. We have to be able to take in the criticisms and improve upon those. And, today we don't have a division to break down, so we're not going to be rushing through anything. But we are going to, talk about Brady and Rodgers a little bit. Who's better? We're hearing this a lot more right now. Who's the GOAT, LeBron or MJ? Who's the better quarterback? Blah, 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 right? Brady, Rodgers, Breeze. Well, Michael Bennett talked with Doug Gottlieb, had an interesting take on it, so we'll talk about that. We'll break the quarterbacks down a little bit. NCAA, they dropped a bombshell on everybody. And, of course, the NFL preseason kickoff, yes, there was the Hall of Fame game, but that's kind of separate. Now this is the preseason. We all saw the Hall of Fame game. Most of the starters didn't even suit up. Now you're going to see not all of those starters suit up, but most of those starters will at least suit up. Some of those starters will even go into the game and play a play or two or a series or two. Now we're back into it. We're back into football. Preseason is here. We're going to start seeing a lot more of these rookies and draft picks play tonight. It's something like 24 teams play tonight. So we'll talk about that today. There's a great tweet out there by Patrick Saunders at PSaundersDP, having to do with Kyle Freeland and the Rockies and the stereotypes with batters and everything like that. We're going to talk about that. And, of course, the PGA Championship kicked off today, so we'll get to that. Real quick, before we jump into any stories, I want to send a shout-out to Mike Evans, host here for 104.3 The Fan in Denver, Colorado. Had open heart surgery this week, and he's recovering from all reports. So, Mike, you're one of the best out there. I appreciate you every morning on the drive with Mark and the way you guys handle yourselves. You guys inspire me to do what I'm doing here. So get better, buddy. We need you out there on the airways doing all that you do. And also another big shout out Good friends of mine, Scott and Holly Witolski, just found out that she is currently dealing with breast cancer. So thoughts to them and theirs. We know you're going to get better. We're going to have a party. When you are better, it's going to be great. It's going to be glorious. And you're strong. You're a fighter. And it's going to work out the way it's supposed to. So both of you guys, Mike and Holly, just know me and my family, we're there for you. And you got our thoughts to get better quickly and recover. All right, that's out of the way. Kind of somber to start the show. Little notification coming in there. But now we're going to get into sports a little more. That's what we're here for, right? We're here to talk sports. KP, you talked about criticizing yourself and getting better, and you talked about some sad news to start off. So we're going to switch it up. We're going to go into this story. Michael Bennett talking with Doug Gottlieb. He says that RODGERS throws the ball better than anyone, but Brady is the better quarterback. And when you kind of read the article that's out there, you can see where Michael Bennett's coming from, and it kind of makes sense. He talks about how amazing Aaron Rodgers is with the ball. He can do anything from any position, any throw to any spot, just unbelievable. And he talks about Brady and how Brady almost makes you feel comfortable and welcome, and he brings you in, and he's constantly repping with you, whether it's on the field or mental reps or checking you this or sending you that. What would you do here? And he made it feel like you were more a part of that. More notifications coming in. So that's good to see. You want to see stuff like that from your quarterback, from your leader. It's a little different to hear that maybe Aaron Rodgers isn't that type. He's not bringing guys in and doing that extra stuff. He's expecting you to be a professional and know how to play your position, it seems like, from the description. Maybe that's also why you hear, Aaron Rodgers in the last 24 hours, 36 hours coming out and talking about how his young receivers and their work ethic, it's just not there. They're not on point. They're not bringing it each and every day. They're not giving it the way he is expecting. So maybe some of that is playing into that role. And that's why, on that factor, is why he gives Brady as the better quarterback. He calls it leadership. And there is some leadership factor involved there, of course. A leader can get his guys to do what he needs them to do. He can inspire them. He can make them better. He can make them feel like they're important. And there's different ways you can lead. You can lead by example. You can be a vocal leader. You can be that supportive guy. You can be the big brother. You can be the dad type. So different styles, different players. Maybe that's playing a little bit into account in what we're seeing with Michael Bennett's comments. Now, I don't disagree with him. I don't think he's, necessarily wrong. He didn't say anything wrong. He didn't put either guy down. He was very complimentary of both players. But he clearly preferred the style and the way Brady went about dealing with him personally over the way he was interacting with Aaron Rodgers for the short time he was even healthy while with Green Bay. So a lot of it is maybe just him observing with his time in Green Bay as opposed to his time in New England where he actually played, got reps, and was a key part of the offense for a season or two. Now, you break these two quarterbacks down. Clearly one is more in his prime right now, Aaron Rodgers, than as is Brady, who turned 41 the other day. Still playing at a high level, still very healthy. If you look at, I think it was NFL.com had around his birthday, a motion picture of his pictures throughout the ages. So, you see his rookie year all the way into current Tom Brady face, and they morphed one into another. He almost looks younger now than he did at other points in his career. Clearly more trim, more chiseled, better diet, obviously. But he's playing strong into his 40s is the point. Aaron Rodgers, younger guy, 34 years old, and that means by that account, by Brady's number, he's got 7 more years at least playing football if he stays healthy. I'm on record as saying this before. The only quarterback in the NFL that I would be okay with the Lions trading Stafford for, as I am a Lions fan, we're on record with that as well, is Aaron Rodgers. And that is because of the youth factor. I can get more out of him long term if you sign him a long-term contract. Whereas Brady, he's, 41, still playing well, MVP caliber, still getting guys to the Super Bowl, getting teams to the Super Bowl. At some point, it's going to start to fall off for him. It's going to start to slow down. He's going to have other interests that are pulling him more. His kids are growing up. They're going to have more activities and things going on that dad's going to want to be there for. So eventually, the focus, life, the man, it's going to shift. So from that point, I would take Rodgers as the quarterback I'd like my team to trade for, even though we have, in my opinion, a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, who, if he had a running game or a consistent team around him, his numbers would be much different. Because if you actually analyze Matthew Stafford, you look at his numbers, he is one of the top producing quarterbacks in the NFL. He's the only quarterback in NFL history to go 16 straight games in an NFL season with a completion percentage of 60% or higher. The only one. He throws into the tightest windows. He has no running game, 100-yard rushing game in his career. A below-average offensive line most of the time. One offensive weapon in Calvin Johnson, who everybody wants to go, oh, well, he had Calvin Johnson. Yeah, double or triple covered on most plays, and the other guys didn't do anything to help out. A defense that at times under Terrell Austin was good, and other years was very underperforming with no talent. You put him in a better situation like some of these other quarterbacks are, you see different things. All of a sudden he gets credit for making guys better and making these different throws, and the narrative changes. But Brady and Rodgers are a tier above him right now. I admit that. They're better quarterbacks. So breaking these two guys down, okay, championships. Just get it out there. Not even wait till the end. Brady's got more. Rodgers has one. He has won a championship. Rodgers beats him in the arm category. Like Michael Bennett said, Rodgers can do anything he wants with a football. Sometimes I can't stand how easy he makes a Hail Mary look, or how silly he can make a defense look with a little step to the right, maybe a jog out to the left, a little twist here, and then drop it in the basket. It's unbelievable how good he is at doing stuff like that. Mobility. Clearly, Rodgers has Brady beat at mobility. Brady is amazing from the pocket, however, so he doesn't have to run a lot. And when he does choose to run, he normally gets a good chunk of yards because nobody's expecting him to. They don't leave a guy in coverage to cover Brady 90% of the time or more. It doesn't happen. It's like when Peyton Manning got around on Dallas several years ago. Nobody was covering him on that play because nobody expected him to run because it's so rare. So mobility goes to Rodgers. Leadership. I'm going to say overall leadership because of what Tom Brady's been able to do since the year 2000 with different casts, with different receivers, with different offensive coordinators, with constant moving pieces. I'm going to have to give that edge to Brady. We have not seen that same kind of thing happening in Green Bay. We've seen the turnovers, we've seen the lack of talent, really. But we haven't seen the consistent success that Brady's able to give. Some of that is due to the leadership. Some of that is due to what Michael Bennett describes when he talks about Brady to Doug Gottlieb. Accuracy, I'm going to go to Rodgers. He can do anything he wants with the football. He can do it on the run, across his body, across the field, deep, short, intermediate, outside the lines, up the middle, improvise, everything. Edge goes to Rodgers. Mental part of the game, I'm going to say it's kind of a push. I really think it's kind of a push. Maybe I'd give a slight edge to Brady because of years of service. He's seen more, he's been exposed to more. But I think their football IQ, their intelligence, the way they can manipulate a defense, see what the defense is going to do based on their lineup, and then change that and get the right guy the ball, they're both really good at that. Really good. You want your quarterback to be as good at that as they are, as a Peyton Manning was, as a Drew Brees is. To just be able to see what the defense is going to do, know it, get yourself in the right play, or change one route, slide the protection, whatever it may be, and get that done, you need that from your quarterback. Both of these guys, they have it. So maybe on years of experience, I would give a slight edge mentally to Brady. Now, just based on those categories, Rodgers is the better quarterback. He took three. Oh, well, actually, no. If you take away the push, it's 3 categories to 3 categories. So at that point, you're just looking at personal preference. You're looking at which style, which guy did you gel with, mix with better. And I think that's more what we saw in Michael Bennett's comments than anything else. I don't know why it was so shocking. Maybe because of the names, because of the quality of quarterbacks that this guy was able to play with in his career. It was unbelievable. And he never, like he said recently, it was reported he never felt at home anywhere in the NFL. And that's unfortunate. Not his time in Dallas, Chicago, Green Bay, New England. And I personally was just always waiting for him to break out and just waiting for it. I thought he had more to give than what was there and what teams were able to get from him. But I really respect him and his brother and what they stand for and what they do, and his children books now that he's been working on for a while. It's cool stuff. Brady and Rodgers, both good quarterbacks. Take your pick. It doesn't matter. You're going to win with either one. They're both, considered their teams this year just because they're on them are both currently top 10 power rankings. Pretty much just because the two of them are on the roster. And for no other reason than just that. And for no other reason, we're going to move on to the NCAA now. Why not? And their big announcement. A couple big announcements actually this week. I read a story today that who was it? Put it out. Sports Nation maybe. That they're now going to allow the kids who enter the NBA draft and don't get drafted to come back and play for the NCAA and play for their team. That should have been how it is the whole time. That never should have not been the case. Never should have not. Say that 5 times fast. Yeah, the kids should be able to go and see if they can be drafted. And if they're not, they shouldn't have lost their amateur status to where they can now not come play basketball again for college. One, you're already capitalizing on the players anyway, so shutting out a good player because they didn't get drafted hurts your bottom dollar, so that's not a good business model for you guys. And 2, come on, they're kids. Why not let them go and test it out in a sport where, yes, you can play at a 18, 19, 20-year-old age? You don't have to have your grown man body in basketball right away. You got to have your man body. You can't be out there, dangly and nothing. So I like that. Go ahead. Let them come back to school if they don't get drafted. Now, this other thing that they dropped this week, that United States basketball has to decide who can have an agent based on where they might go in the draft and if they should hire an agent or whatever it is. How does the NCAA just get to decide, hey, I'm going to pick somebody else to be the governing body of this situation so we can remove ourselves from the conversation? Are you going to get rid of basketball then as a scholarship sport and turn them all into club teams? Because guess what, NCAA? That didn't work. Nobody's going for this. The NBA's not going for it. The Players Association's not going for it. United States basketball's not going for it. They don't have the resources, is what they're saying, to even take something like this on. Go check out Wojo's comments on this on Twitter. He details it very well. The organization that has the resources to take something like that on is the NBA. I agree with Wojo on that. They have the resources. They have the manpower. They can do all the back-end work to decide and go tell those players honestly whether or not they should hire an agent and enter the draft. And there probably should be a system like that for all of athletics. Because then maybe some of these kids do stay in school. Maybe they do find a secondary career path outside of just their athletics. Because you know what? They get an honest report, evaluation. Said, look, you come out right now, this is where you stand. Here's your chances. You stay, you work on your craft, you got a much better chance moving forward. Now, maybe some of these other football organizations that are starting to build up, maybe the arena leagues as they're becoming a bigger, more popular venue. The XFL as it's coming out in 2020. Ebersol's new football thing that he's putting together that's coming out next season. Opposite of the NFL. Maybe that will offer some opportunities for some more of these players to get some experience where school's not for them. Because that exists too. School is not for everybody. That's something that has been drilled into our heads that everybody has to go to college. And now we're searching and scrambling for people who can fix our roads and bridges and build something and fix things. That was done intentionally. For years, we've heard about the dumbing down of America. That wasn't because we were doing something wrong. That's because they were dividing us. It's been happening for a while. Now, that isn't what we're here to talk about. But let the NBA handle the process. You want to smooth this out? Take away the age requirements. Okay? Some people say take it away for all sports. Fine, take it away for football. That's going to be the fastest way for the NFL to disappear is by letting 18-year-old kids on the field with grown men. You're very rarely, if ever, going to find an 18-year-old kid who could step onto an NFL field and deal with the punishment. Now, I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it's highly unlikely that you're going to see anything like that. So open it up, but then allow these organizations to do full evaluations on the players. Let them be realistic. Let them know, look, kid, no, you're not going to get drafted. NBA's got 2 rounds. You wouldn't be a 5th round pick. Go back to school. Go play here. Go, look at your other options because right now you're not ready for this. USA Basketball, NBA, we'll see how this all moves forward with the NCAA's announcements. It's going to be interesting, that's for sure. All right, NFL preseason tonight. Ton of games tonight. We got the Browns and the Giants tonight. That's going to be a fun one to watch. Baker Mayfield, let's see how he does. Saquon Barkley, what's going on there? Giants' new head coach. You got the Panthers and the Bills. Kelvin Benjamin running his mouth about Cam Newton. Not that he was wrong, but he was running his mouth. Bears, Bengals. Steelers, Eagles. The Battle of Philadelphia. Saints, Jags. Bucks, Dolphins. Washington, New England. Rams and Ravens. Titans, Packers. Texans, Chiefs. Cowboys and the Niners, and the Colts and the Seahawks all tonight. Now the Cowboys and the Niners are on the NFL Network, and so are the Browns and the Giants. So those two games, if you don't have Game Pass or anything like that, you can check those out on NFL Network. Now tomorrow night, you got the Falcons and the Jets, where, hey, it looks like Sam Darnold might be getting a start. Maybe McCown gets the start and Darnold comes in after that. You know they're going to try and get Bridgewater sometime, since now he's available for a trade. So they want him to look good. They want to get him some reps and some time out there, show his knees good, let him sling it around a little bit, maybe even get him on some bootlegs and a quarterback sneak here or there, depending on how much time he gets in, so that, you know, everybody can see him play and make some ridiculous offers for his service. Then also tomorrow night, doubleheader on the NFL Network. My Detroit Lions are taking on the Oakland Raiders as John Gruden's second tenure there in Oakland begins. It's going to be a fun one. They practiced against each other this week. On Saturday, you got the Vikings and the Broncos, and then the Chargers and the Cardinals. Now, the most interesting part of the Vikings and the Broncos game is you have Case Keenum, last year's Vikings starter, playing for the Broncos as the starter, going against Kirk Cousins, who was brought in to replace Case Keenum. Then you will have Trevor Siemian, the previous 2 years Denver Broncos starter, now Minnesota Viking backup, taking on the guy he beat out in Paxton Lynch. Then you will end it with Kyle Sloter, who was the Broncos' third-string quarterback 2 seasons ago, as he was in Minnesota last year. They picked him up off the Broncos practice squad. Going against Chad Kelly, who is the new Broncos' third-string quarterback. So just fun storylines there as far as all those quarterbacks go. The game doesn't mean anything. If both quarterbacks who start go out and throw an interception on their first pick or their first pass, means nothing. Games that I'm excited to watch tonight, Browns and Giants, because I want to see the rookies. I want to see how those two teams play. Steelers and Eagles, I want to see how the Eagles come back. You know, preseason, where's their head out after the Super Bowl win? Rams, Ravens, Ravens' second preseason game. Definitely interested in that one. Lamar Jackson's second chance to get out there, a little bit more time. Let's see what RG3 does tonight, because he might not be on the roster. Maybe that's a guy who ends up being a backup somewhere else. Here on the radio today, they actually talked about the idea of RG3 being a Broncos backup to Case Keenum, which I don't understand, because then you're running two different offenses. Like, that's why it's a sign Joe Flacco's on his way out the door when you bring in two quarterbacks behind him who run a similar style and have a similar skill set. You kind of want some continuity in what you're doing. So I don't really see RG3 fitting in with Denver, but whatever. And then Cowboys 49ers, just because that's a classic matchup. Cowboys 49ers. Tomorrow night, definitely looking forward to the Lions and Raiders. And Saturday, I'll definitely be looking forward to the Vikings and Broncos game. I'm super excited that football is back. I know a lot of people I respect are down on the NFL right now, justly so, because the league office and their stance on the players and not supporting the players and basically treating them like hired help at best, it's not cool. Human rights are at stake. The freedoms we all take so dear in our hearts are at stake. And the idea that you're going to fine or suspend or punish for the players using their rights, that's unfathomable. It's not, it pisses me off. Like, they make all of your money. They are the product. So if you're going to look at them just as a product, not as human beings, not as people with rights in a free country, then you need to make your product happy. You need to make your product healthy. You need to make your product wealthy and fat and good. You know, like your Thanksgiving turkey, right? You fatten it up, then at Thanksgiving you got this great bird. Well, if you want to have a great product, look what Mark Cuban did when he took over the Mavericks. What did he do? He improved everything around that team, made everything first class. They got themselves to the finals and won it. You don't tear your product down and then say, go out there and make me a bunch of money. So just from the business standpoint, what the NFL is doing is dumb. From a moral right and wrong standpoint, what they're doing is wrong. So I get why people I respect and people that I know don't want to watch NFL games because of that. They don't want to support those people. It's not that they don't support the players and what their stance is or who they are as people and the value of their lives. It's they don't want to fatten those guys' pockets anymore. Rightfully so. I personally, I'm not going to be able to get myself to do that. You guys know I don't like the business side of football at all, but this is the best quality football. I want to watch it. I want to watch college football. I'll probably watch more college football this year. I might watch less NFL football. Maybe. We'll see. But I'm not going to cut it out. It's not me, but for those who are, I get you. I get you. All right, moving on. Patrick Saunders. He is a beat writer for the Colorado Rockies for the Denver Post. I listen to him on the radio mostly. Very educated, very knowledgeable about the game of baseball. And he had a tweet the other day where he says, I find it interesting and maddening that many national baseball writers are quick to dismiss the Rockies' hitters because of Coors Field. But we rarely hear anything about how Kyle Freeland has pitched so well at Coors. Now, for those of you who don't know, don't follow baseball, don't know the Rocky situation, nobody on the Rockies ever gets credit or gets far enough into the MVP ballot because they play at Coors Field. They hit home runs there. They're hitting, it's, hitting on steroids because they get to hit at altitude. And all the other teams don't, so their stats aren't as high. Well, that's BS, okay? They've done everything they can to change that. The balls are kept in humidifiers. The game has changed with the way people are hitting home runs and striking out, and the numbers are fluctuating. Kyle Freeland does not get the credit. I agree with Patrick Saunders on his comment 100%. Neither the hitters nor Kyle Freeland is getting the respect that they deserve for the players they are. Kyle Freeland at Coors Field has an ERA just over 2. His entire ERA is over 3. That means it's higher on the road than what it is at Coors Field, where apparently it's impossible to pitch. And it's so hard to pitch and so easy to hit. So if that's the case, then he is amazing. And he is amazing. He is having an ace-type season for the Rockies right now. He's giving you 6-7 innings almost every outing. And he's a local homegrown product. He went to TJ. He's their emerging ace. He's a Colorado native, second-year kid. He's not scared of the moment. He's going to take the mound. He's going to deal. Sometimes he's going to miss. You're going to win some. He's going to win most. That's his mindset right now. That's what I'm seeing from a Kyle Freeland right now. And to not get the respect for how well he pitches at Coors Field is as disrespectful as discounting the Rockies hitters because they play at Coors Field. Kyle Freeland has put himself above guys like Bettis, Gray, Sensatella, Marquez, Anderson in his second year. It's like Nolan Arenado not winning the MVP. His numbers home and away are almost equal. Sometimes his away numbers are much better than his home numbers as far as power, home runs. It's not because he plays in Coors Field that his numbers are what he is. It's because he is the best third baseman in baseball. He's one of the top 3 players in baseball, arguably. Now the Rockies, they're going to have to get hot. It may be a lost season for them, but they have talent. They have MVP-type guys on their roster. Charlie Blackmon, Nolan Arenado. Charlie's taking a little step back this year, not having the season he had last year, but Nolan is. Nolan should have been the MVP last year. You could argue he should have been the MVP the season before that. He got this team going again this year as well. He very much is in the National League MVP race and probably should win it this year. Maybe Javi Baez for what he's doing with the Cubs. PGA Championship kicked off today. Who was watching golf today? Anybody? Did you check in, see where everybody was at? How's Tiger doing? I kind of checked in here and there. Leaderboard right now, Ricky Fowler still at 5. He finished at 5 under today. He's still the leader. Tiger Woods struggled a little bit today. He finished even. There's some guys still out on the course of course. But we'll have to see. If Tiger can get some momentum tomorrow, maybe make this thing interesting, you're going to get some more numbers. Everybody wants to see him win again. I want to see him win again. I don't know if it's going to happen. You'll see him have a good round or a good 9 and then a double bogey and then a bogey and then it goes away. I think he's almost there, but I think he's still trying to find his way all the way back to where he was playing before. All right, that's what I got for you today. I hope y'all liked it. I hope your Thursdays went good. Enjoy your weekend. We'll be back on Monday where we're going to do our next division breakdown. Let's see, we did North, South. We have the East and the West left. Let's go NFC East on Monday. And until then, you know how we do. Just keep it real.
Simple-minded young Negroes whose rhyming sounded like Migos. I hate the fact that some people actually think we're rapping equals, while it's obvious when it comes to rhyming I'm Spartacus, and I will slaughter kids for the simple joy of the audience. While you soft vaginas with panty liners inside them, I think it's time for your monthly cycle, but I'm no gynecologist. I'm a fucking rhyming smith. I can forge a verses harder than a diamond is. I'm absolutely dominant. Do us all a big favor and crumple up that paper you write and launch that shit into space like it was a fucking rocket, cause ain't nobody rocking it. I got a zero tolerance for any whack shit in my environment. Call the firemen and pull the fire alarm. I hope you fireproof the booth, cause I'ma fire off these bars like a fireball. Trap music's influences impacted the movement, trying to bring it back to the future like Marty McFly. I'm sitting high in DeLorean, ride a flying at 85. Travel back in time to where motherfuckers could really rhyme. Yeah, I said I'll travel back in time to where motherfuckers could really spit. The